What I'd like to show you now is how to sugar paste a cake. So I've got my cake marzipan, and it's marzipan in an all over method, and that's the one that's suitable for the sugar paste cake. Now I'm going to take it off the board, off the paper. My table's been sanitised, it's nice and clean, so I shouldn't have any problem. Now I can do this straight away. As soon as I've marzipan the cake, I can sugar paste it. I don't need to wait to leave it to dry. And I've actually marzipan this morning. Equipment wise, I've got palette knife, knife, brush, rolling pin, smoother, water, icing sugar and sugar paste. So, first of all, I need to make the sugar paste pliable. So I've had it stored in plastic bags to stop it drying out. And I need to work the sugar paste. So I need to knead it. So all the time I'm pressing it down, pulling it up and in. And that will make my sugar paste nice and smooth on the top. So it's a round cake, so I'm starting with a round shape. Rolling it out on icing sugar. And being careful not to get any icing sugar on top of the sugar paste. I want that sugar paste nice and smooth, no blotches on it. Now some people call sugar paste fondant, so it isn't fondant. Fondant is what you heat up and dip tea fancies in, or use on the top of chocolate eclairs with a mixture of chocolate. So this is sugar paste or roll out icing. And you can see I'm keeping an eye on it. I just got out a little bit of an imperfection there, so I just took that out. I'm keeping my hands nice and level so that it rolls out evenly. And I'm keeping the sugar paste moving. Now the reason for that is, one, I want it rolled out nice and evenly, and two, it stops the sugar paste sticking to the table. And you can see I'm not using a lot of icing sugar if I keep moving it. If I keep that sugar paste moving, I don't need the icing sugar, which will prevent the sugar paste drying out. Because I might find, oh, I'm not too keen on it, I might need to roll it up again. And that's fine. Without that icing sugar, you won't have any problem with that. So every time I put the rolling pin down, lifting it up, try and remember to brush any icing sugar off. And I'm rolling it hopefully round. If it's not coming out round, then you can just shape it into a round shape. Now I don't want the sugar paste too thin, because I want this cake to look really good. So if I cut off the edge there, you'll be able to see the thickness of the marzipan. The sugar paste. Okay. What I now need to do is wet the marzipan. Now, you can use a number of things. You can use alcohol, as long as it's a clear alcohol. So I can use vodka, white rum, gin for this. But water does just as good job. I'm just taking the brush around. Again, I'm not getting it too wet. I just want a nice thin covering on the marzipan. I don't want any gaps. If I've got any gaps of water, then it could cause air bubbles. Okay. You could have a look at your cake to start with. I'm sure it's fine. But if there's any dents in your cake, you can fill that out with a little bit of sugar paste or marzipan. Lift up your sugar paste. Never roll it up with a rolling pin. If you do, what will happen that as the sugar paste rolls over, it will make ridges on the sugar paste. So just lift it up with your hands and place it on. Now you might think, oh, that's a bit short, but don't worry, when I've worked this sugar paste, it'll be fine. So first of all, I'm checking to see if there's any air bubbles, and I can feel one there. So I'm lifting up the sugar paste, taking out any air bubbles. And just like when I'm marzipaned, I need to work the sugar paste, work it around and go down the cake. What I don't do is do one side, turn it around and do another side. If I do that, I'll have a fold in the paste, which I'd have trouble getting rid of. So I'm going to work the sugar paste down the cake as I go. If I've got any folds, pulling them out. This fold here, just pull it out and work it round. And you can see I'm working all the way around the cake, not just on one side. Eventually working the sugar paste down, but using this soft part of your hands, not your fingertips, because your fingertips are a bit bony. Use this nice soft part of your hand. Be very gentle with it. You need to manipulate the sugar paste, so you do need to be gentle as you go, and be careful if you shouldn't have any long nails working the sugar, but if you have, you know, just be careful you don't catch it. Nice and gentle all the time. Got a little bit of an air bubble there. Sometimes you feel the air bubbles before you see them, and if you move around you might be able to catch it in the light. So I'm quite pleased that's happened, because I'll be able to show you how to get rid of it. You do these cakes sometimes there's no air bubbles, and sometimes you do them and you get quite a few. Just trapped air, that's all. Now I've done this side on purpose because I want to show you what to do, because it's a little bit short. Okay, what you then do is take your sugar paste and you just form a crease. I'm not pushing it into the cake at all like I did with the marzipan. I'm just pushing it in so that it's against the cake. I'm using a palette knife, again working the furthest away from there, and I'm trimming that off. It's a little bit more difficult to turn around with the sugar paste on, because I do run the risk of damaging it. So I'm just going to work around, but trying to keep that palette knife straight on the cake and just working down. Never cut in like this, because it will take too much sugar paste. You want it level all the way around. Got a little bit of that might disappear. I've got a big gap around here which I want to show you what to do with. Turn it round so you can see. Now you can see here the marzipan hasn't quite reached the bottom. I've done that on purpose. So look, oh, I've just caught that with my nail. Oh, that's so annoying. I'm just trimming that off. That sugar paste can be reused. Okay, now we need to get rid of any imperfections. So I'm using my smoother, and you can see here the marzipan can be seen, the sugar paste hasn't quite reached down. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to smooth that sugar paste down, and this happens, that's why I wanted to show you what to do about it. Not a big deal at all, and you can see straight away that that sugar paste has now come down. If you've marzipaned your cake correctly, then you should have no problem with sugar paste in it. Now, I need to show you, and I'm going to get a scriber, how to get rid of that powder. There we go, I've got a scriber. So something sharp and pointed. There it is, I can feel it. And I'm just going to push the scriber in, squash out the air bubble, and then just work that sugar paste so that hole disappears. It's only a very tiny hole anyway. Okay, so as you can see, I'm touching the cake all the time. Now the reason for that is I don't want the sugar paste to start to dry out before I've finished. And I'm just very gently keeping that sugar paste pliable. What I don't want to do is just leave it. If I leave it, it'll start to skin over, and then I won't be able to manipulate it into to make it how I want it to look. So I need to look at it. Now, if you have got any imperfections, it's always better to use your hand and not the smoother, because when you use your smoother, it's got no heat in it like your hand has, so there's no heat with the smoother. But using your hand, it applies the warmth of your hand to the sugar paste and it keeps it from drying out. So I'm looking for any marks on the sugar paste. I'm looking to see if something hasn't been quite taken off. I'm looking for any nail marks. It's starting to look good. Now you can use your smoother. Nice and gently on top, and on top only. And then nice and gently with a straight smoother, not at an angle or in, because if I start to do that, the sugar paste will come thicker at the bottom and thinner here. If I start to rub it like that, it will go thin around the bottom and I won't have a nice straight side. So I need a nice straight side when I do this. So I'm just running round the edge of my cake. And it's so important to get your cake looking good at this stage. At no time have I touched the edge of this cake. As when I was marzipaning it, if I start to rub that edge, it would make it too rounded. It wouldn't give the look I want. Okay. Now the best way to sort out this edge is this part of your hand. Just tuck it. Your hand is made perfectly for cakes, and you just go around the edge very, very gently, so you can see that that edge is nice and smooth. Okay. Looking all right. Now I can transfer it to my board. Hopefully you can see. Using a clean scraper, pop your scraper underneath. Take it underneath, lift it up, put your hand underneath and transfer it. Before you do that, there's one thing you need to do, is I want to make sure the cake sticks to the board, so I'm going to get some sugar paste and I'm going to soften that sugar paste in my water, and I'm just going to dip it in and to make it pliable. You can also use royal icing. But as this is a sugar paste cake, you haven't always got royal icing as hand. And then you can just make it down. And that will help your cake stick to the board. Just wiping my hand. with a clean palette knife, pop your palette knife underneath, lift it up, transfer it to the board, hopefully in the centre. And you can see I'm just taking off any crumbs I might have from touching the bottom of that cake. Going to look to see if the cake is in the middle, and I can see if I look straight down on the cake if it's in the centre of the board. Another way is by putting this on a turntable and just using a palette knife as a measuring stick to see if it's in the middle. You can see it's not quite in the centre, so I just need to bring that nice and gently across. I've marzipan this cake today. I've also sugar pasted the board and I've sugar pasted the cake. So the sugar paste board is soft, so I just need to check I'm not damaging it. That's it. So that's in the middle. I'm going to look now to see if I can improve it. So where my palette knife went under the cake, I just need to smooth that down. Any one of these stages, the marzipan and sugar pasting, you can do separately. You could leave it to dry before you do the next stage. Just checking I haven't damaged my board. I've got a little bit of a crumb showing there, so I'm going to take that out with a sharp knife. I'm not sure how that got there. There we go. I think I can still see it. Oh, that's better. Checking that it's nice and flat. I'm checking that the sides are nice and straight. I'm checking that that edge isn't too curved. Okay, there we go. Yep, happy with that. Okay, thank you.